guys. I know that it's been a while, right? But I know that a lot of people are kind of, it's been a lot of confusion, right? A lot of people are confused right now, and really wondering like what the heck is going on. People are having all kinds of different experiences, and a lot of that is it's kind of universal across the board, right? It's not something that is unique, to any one person or group, right? So I'm just going to. I decided I was like, let me go ahead and explain because I'm getting a lot of clients that are, coming to me just really trying to figure out like what the heck is going on. And let me just explain on a base root level, right? What has been going on. And this, I think, is the most confusing part of things that people aren't able to really grasp. People are not understanding that either they are under the influence of projections or they are doing a bunch of projecting, right? So a lot of the chaos, confusion, even bad experiences, all of these different things are coming from typically one of these two places. So this is going on across the board right now because this is a very unique time in history, okay? Very pivotal time in history. And so here's the thing, right? People are, this is kind of a place, a point in history where it's very important because we're having this shifting of ages. Now, everybody is aware of that. People were talking about it because it's been going on at least since 2012. But you got to understand that from a spiritual and universal perspective, an age taking 15 years to shift is not abnormal, right? Because the universe, as there's a shift of ages, this is what the religions talk about when they talk about in the new age and in the age to come, right? They're talking about these shifts in ages. Okay, so this is not new information. It's been going on, since the beginning of existence, okay? And what happens is there is a lot of things that take place that bring in and usher in that new age. The new age also has new government, on the spiritual plane. There's a switching over of leadership, authority. Certain things happen. And this takes time. So what happens is the universe starts to prepare people for these changes. This is why in religion they talk about, there will be wars and rumors of wars and, pestilences and plagues and curses, right? That is not, it's not a God in the sky that is doing these things to punish everybody, right? What happens is there's like a cleansing, a purification, that goes on in the earth where it is required for people to make certain adjustments to certain things just do not fit in the new age. They don't fit in the new energies. And so those things have to be wiped out. Remember, it's all vibration and energy, right? So then when they talk about like God wiping the earth of everybody, right? Like you heard about the flood with there's always this thing like God curses the earth and just kills everybody. No, what that is the vibrational calibration to the new energies, to the new and what's happening going forward. So a lot of things that worked in the past, they don't work anymore. A lot of things that were spiritually legal in the past are not spiritually legal anymore, because there's new government, there's new order, there's a shift in things, right, in the new age. So this is what's going on. So what happened is we've been having this transition coming about for a long time. But of course, COVID marked kind of this period where this big wiping of the energies happened. This is where you death at the ends of these shifts of ages. You just do. Something comes about and wipes out some numbers, right? This has always happened. It's just a difference in what they've called it, you know, over time. You know, whether they call it a curse, a plague, whatever, right? So anyway, what has happened though is because people are sensing these changes, and that who they are, who they've been, and all of these things, there's more accountability coming in, right? And then the rules are changing. So the way that they've been operating, they can feel the shift of, okay, this is not legal anymore. This is not okay. But they don't know what the new way is, right? So they're still trying to operate on the old age and what they got away with then. But it's just like, say for instance, it used to be legal to do something, it's illegal now, right? It's that type of thing. So what people have done is, these people who have been operating off, like in this old energy, in the old age, you could get away with deception. Like, if deception was a lot more prominent, the rule was, though, that you had to make the truth available. As long as the truth was available, you were able to just flat out be deceptive and still be prosperous, okay? This is why you could create a religion where you kind of told the truth was in there, but you twist it around in a way that works in your favor, or for whatever cause you wanted to. You could get by with that, okay? People were deceptive in a lot of ways, and it seemed like, oh, you was winning. Well, that did work that way in the old age. In this age, don't you do it. Don't you do it. It's like quicksand in this age. In this age, the more you lie, the more you try to cover up, the more you try to, the deeper you sink. Okay? The more you try to hide something, the deeper you sink. Okay? So, what people are doing is, people are feeling this, but they don't have the awareness. So what has happened is, a bunch of people have decided to project as if there's some type of growth that can come from that. And there's a couple of things that's going on in this dynamic. So what that is let's just break it down, right? Say for instance, I'm sensing that I needed to have cultivated something different in myself than what I have cultivated. So I'm feeling a sense of urgency, like time is running out, I haven't cultivated it. So the way for me to cultivate that now would be, I can't. So what I'm going to do, people are trying to switch with other people. So they're like, oh, I can't cultivate it. So you know what? Okay, I've been a liar this whole time. So I can't get out of being a liar. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make them a liar. I'm just going to try to switch and take credit for the work that person did. And I'm just going to say I'm a liar, even on my track record. So my track record has no history of this, right? People know me as a liar. But I'm going to try to create an energy by projecting on this person and making it as if they're the liar. Right? So then somehow I'm freeing myself of all the energy of me being a liar. I'm trying to dump it somewhere. Just get it off me. So then if I get it off me, when judgment, or when it comes down on me, when I'm being weighed for, you know, who I am and energetically where I should be, and when that vibration, it's not really, what's happening is, before I have to, here it is. It's not about worrying about being judged. What's going on a deeper level, the real deal is, I'm worried about having to live the energetic match of me being a liar, right? So then if that happens, I want to rid myself of that. I want to put that energy on someone else and then make myself not a liar. This is, honestly, it's crazy to me. You know, I've been talking to people about it. It almost seems like mental illness to me to actually think that you're going to be successful with that that's actually going to work. So what they're wanting is to get that other person to believe that they're the liar. Because if they can believe it, they can accept that energy. I don't have to take it back. I don't have to take that energy. I won't have to take it back. they'll keep it, right? Because otherwise they keep trying to give it back. I don't want it back. I don't want to be the liar. So rather than just stop lying, because you could do that. But this is what I'm saying, right? But this stuff used to work. So these people got away with this. And it was a lot less visible. Even the person they was projecting on may not have felt it as strongly as people will feel it now if you do that to them. And it's really about how much people know themselves, how connected to themselves they are, and if they're going to really accept that. Like, it used to be, if you were a person who overly examined yourself, that was beneficial to you before. Now it's kind of can get you in trouble, because while you're trying to be like, you're not even a liar, but you're trying to examine yourself, like, let me make sure I'm being authentic and I'm being truthful. These people will come in at that time. It makes you vulnerable. So when they're projecting the energy, you're a liar. You're looking for all your lies. And now the lie becomes, you do become a liar, because now you're lying to yourself about who you are, because now you're trying to accept this energy. You're just taking it on, taking it on, taking it on. See, the problem with this is, in the end, this is all pointless. Nobody's getting away with nothing, okay? So you don't get to just say who you was. And see, I'm going to tell you another thing that I think brought this about, because I've been talking to people about it, and I've been watching it for a while, trying to figure out what the hell is that. Because for me, it looked like mental illness. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, this is mental illness, right? You're mentally ill if you think that you can change your history, who you've been, and everything by just saying it was somebody else and saying you didn't do it and just creating another version of yourself in your mind. And that's good enough. Like, as if the truth, reality, none of that exists anymore, right? That's, to me, it was like, that's mental illness. But then I realized something. It's not that it's just mental illness. It's also a lot of the New Age teachings and where we've been as a society leading up to this. So what do I mean by that? All of this manifestation theory, right? All of this law of assumption, law of attraction, right? People have taken that and combined it with an unwillingness to be right, to really line up and get it right. Be right, to be upright within. Right? They've taken those two, and when you put them together, that means I can still not be right. I can still be, but I can just get away from the karma of the energy of it. Because the karma is nothing more than that energy coming into my life to match me. I don't want that energy coming and the circumstances of my life to come into my life and match me in that energy. So I want to dump that energy off on somebody else, as if that's going to free me, when really you just added more karma. You made it worse. So the reason that the energies are feeling so heavy right now, and everybody's feeling that, is because these people are making the energies very dense. Because every time, the more you do that, the worse it gets, the darker it gets, the more you sink. Because now, you're not becoming just, now you're not just a liar, right? You're a liar who is spiritually violent. Now you've added spiritual violence to your list of sins. So what do you think comes back? Spiritual violence. See, so here's the thing. All I can say, whatever side you're on, like if you have been doing this, stop it immediately. Stop projecting. Stop trying to get rid of any guilt you feel, any shame you feel, heartache you feel by making somebody else carry it. You will get a lot further by admitting whatever you need to admit to yourself, because this is the thing, if you can admit it, the answer to get free of that energy for real, stop doing it. See, but if you're say for instance, because I started with that example, so I got to keep going with it. So say for instance, you was that liar, right? You're going to make the other person a liar to get that energy off of you. You didn't get rid of the energy of being a liar. You basically just burdened this other person and caused problems and roadblocks and stumbling and pain and suffering for them unnecessarily, and became a bigger liar. So whatever liar you were before, you're an even bigger liar now, because you're lying about who you are and your soul and all of that. You see what I'm saying? You're a bigger liar than you were before. So whatever you're trying to project onto the other person, you're bigger. So like, say for instance, you felt like you've really been kind of like, if you've been an evil person, you've been dark and evil, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm not dark and evil. That person is dark and evil. And so you're going to try to project it out onto them. Guess what? You're even more evil now, because how evil is that? See, you can't get away from it. You just become more of it by doing it. The answer is to stop. Stop it now. Stop it while you can. You know, do not. And here's a good way to see with this, what's going on here. These people that are doing this, the person who is saying that this other person is the liar, that will be the person who's projecting has a history. You can go back and see actual events. You can think of this person lying. You know this person be lying. You know that this person has a history of being a liar. This other person doesn't. Now you might be able to find, there may be something that happened where it can look like that person is a liar. You might have one lie that you can catch them up in, but they're not a liar. So they're not going to have that history. The person who's projecting it does, right? So this is one way that you can start to tell who's who and what's what. If you're watching this, because sometimes you're observing it happening amongst other people. Sometimes it's happening to you. You're being projected upon. And then if you're a right type of person, these projections come at you and you start doubting yourself. You start thinking, okay, am I like this? Am I like that? You start finding every bad thing you've ever done. If somebody projecting their evil, dark energy onto you, saying you dark and evil, you start thinking of every dark thing you've ever thought, never done. And then you start taking that on like, I am dark. But think about it. You have to go back, right? And look at your genuine history. What is your true history? So all of this stuff that people are doing, thinking that they're going to take other people's energy and actually manifest something, you're not going to manifest anything but chaos and confusion, right? Because yes, we can manifest whatever we want, but it's not a free-for-all. There are laws to this. What happened in the past matters. Okay, we can't get rid of reality. Why is that? See, when you do that, that's such a spiritual violation behind the veil. And the reason is because that impacts a lot of people. You got to understand. So say, for instance, you were a liar who, instead of just accepting you were a liar before and deciding not to be a liar anymore going forward, right? Because then you can manifest a life where you're not going to be bringing in energies and karma of being a liar, because you're not a liar no more. You're going to be truthful, right? So say, for instance, now, instead of doing that, you're not going to deal with any of that. You're going to try to act like you wasn't a liar in the past. You're going to project the energy off onto somebody else and make them a liar. And you're going to feel free from that energy. The problem is, you was really a liar, right? So in a bunch of other people's history and stories, they got lies that are an active part of their reality. And this is where we're all connected. So say, for instance, that one person you lied to, see, everybody's trying to manifest their own desires. Everybody's trying to create the best life for themselves and their own happiness. The only way this works is in truth. So you cannot undo the past and make yourself somebody else, or what you did, make it different by just saying it was different. No, you can change the future. Okay, but you have to have real life events, real life stuff to be able to say, this is what, for your past to be what it is. It has to be in truth. You can't have a past that don't exist. I mean, that ain't the truth of your past. Why? Because you're impacting somebody else's reality. And that's not allowed. So let me say this. So think about this. Say, for instance, you're going to sit up here now, we're going to use the liar incident. You're not a liar no more. You're still a liar, because you're going to lie again and make this person a liar to try to cleanse your soul. Cleanse yourself of lying by lying again. Okay. You're going to cleanse yourself of being a liar by lying some more. All right. Now, the problem is, Now that you're not a liar because they are, and you just shifted your energy off to them, guess what? Somebody else is dealing with the reality of the lies you told. So there's somebody else with, in their reality, you lied to them about, I'm trying to see something to think of. You lied about having a job when you didn't have one. Okay, you was in, I'm just making stuff up. You was in a past relationship and you lied about having a job, and you was pretending to go out to work every day, knowing good and well you ain't had no doggone job. And then the person you was in a relationship with, they think you got a job, and so they was budgeting their money thinking you was gonna have some money to put on the bills because you made it like you was, but then you didn't, and you didn't have the money, and they got evicted and they spent 90 days in a homeless shelter trying to get back on their feet because you lied. Well, see, that's not going to go away in their story because that was a traumatic experience for them. Okay? So now, when you try to just make it like you weren't a liar anymore, that would wipe away that experience that can't be wiped away. Because maybe that person, it may have impacted their soul. They may have grew from it. They may have been thrown backwards spiritually from it. Whatever happened, it's still a part of their path, so you can't rip that off. You don't get to do that. So you're gonna have to, the reason it's not gonna work when you try to just project that you're not a liar and put it off on this other person is because you don't get to alter that other connected experience with you being a liar. Because now if you're not a liar, look what you're doing to the other person that you lied to in the past and that you did. That person is gonna be in a crazy place, because if you wasn't lying about that and you really did have a job, then why didn't you pay no bill? Like it starts making the story. See, the stories start getting twisted because there's too many other people connected. So now, if you didn't lie, then that means you did have a job and you did have money to pay the bills, but you didn't do it. Which means something else, and it's going to lead to how that connects to somebody else, because then they told this person. You see, you can't just do that. You can't do that. That's not the truth of who that person is. Okay? So, now a lot of this is happening where people aren't as aware of what they're doing. But this is the core of it. People are trying to get away from the truth of who they are by just saying somebody else was like that. Just putting it off on somebody else. And making themselves in their head who they deem themselves to be. You still ain't that. And it's gonna smack you in the face. It's gonna come back and prove that it ain't the truth. And you ain't that. It's never gonna let you get by with it, because there's too many other realities impacted. So your best bet, like if you're a person with a jacked up history, jacked up things you've done in the past, your only hope, you don't get to just wipe that away. You have to go forward with that in your, I was this, I used to be this way, right? But I'm not doing, I used to be a liar. I'm not lying no more. That's the best you can do to clear that energy up. But other people are tied to who you have been. Other people are tied to experiences of you. So you don't just get to say, you're not that. Now, for those who are trying to evaluate the truth of themselves with all of these projections and things like that, you also want to look at your history. You want to look at your for real actions. Okay, what you really did do and didn't do. And you want to look at patterns. Okay, so if somebody's projecting onto you that you stingy, and you sitting up here trying to make yourself like you generous, and when you look over your history, you ain't gave nothing but about 2 times, you're not generous, you stingy. So now what you can do is look at cultivating a generous heart going forward, so that you can manifest that type of reality that you're really wanting in the future, where you're this person that really is the way you're trying to imagine yourself in your head. So, you know, that's what it is, you know. So this creates a huge mess. We got a huge mess going on in the earth right now of all of this chaos because of all of these people choosing to lie and just make themselves out to be something that their history does not state that they are. Okay, you can only be what you want to be from the point that you decide that and going forward. You don't get to go back over your past with a brush and paint it and say you just wasn't that. Okay, because the more people are trying to do that, it's causing more suffering. It's causing more pain and just more chaos and confusion that ultimately you're adding to your own karmic load with that. Because when that comes back, then you have to deal with the energy matching you of all of this chaos that you're creating. Right? So, it's something to think about. And you need to be able to back up whatever you believe about yourself. You need to be able to go back and back it up with actual actions, actual things, and there needs to be a pattern of it. You can't say you generous because you gave something twice and you 58, 38. You know, you're not generous if you got 2 instances you can bring up of where you did that. You're going to need to see a pattern of generosity after generosity after generosity. Like, I got too many times I was generous. Okay? A lot of people who were unsure of themselves, I went through people trying to project onto me about who I was. I was sure of myself all my life. Or I have a track record of being connected to myself and just sure of myself in a certain way. You can go back, you can see that in me as a kid. I started my first business at 8 and made my first $1,000. Taught myself to read. I was a kid model. I've always, in some way, just had this certain thing about accomplishment, about knowing who I was, and I was known for telling the truth, saying too much. I was constantly told, shut up, Shamika, shut up, Shamika, shut up, Shamika. I've always been that person who just tells the truth and says it like it is. My grandmother would be nervous taking me places because she'd be scared sometimes that I'm going to say something, call something out that I shouldn't say. Okay? So, it's always been there. So, that's the thing. You want to look at a history, and it should go back where you can just take time after time after time after time. It should be very easy. It should be very easy. Okay? But this is hard because it's hard to acknowledge the parts that you don't like. When you have to be like, okay, I was that. I was that. And that's going to hurt because it might be ugly. You don't like it. You don't want to see yourself that way. But you have to see yourself that way if you ever want to not be that way. If you ever want to not be a liar, you're going to have to see yourself as a liar. If you ever want to not be a thief, you're going to have to see yourself as a thief. If you ever not want to be a drug addict, you're going to have to see yourself as a drug addict. You get what I'm saying? It's the only way real growth and change occurs. Okay, so how does it get me off drugs if I say I'm not on drugs, she is? Even if I could make it look like they really are on drugs. Like, look, why do you think she lost her house, right? I'm lying on her. Why do you think she lost her house? Because she on drugs. I could make it sound good. I could take every downfall in her life, every weakness, every soft spot, and if I compile that into the right kind of story, it could look like she's a drug addict. When the truth of the situation could be something totally different. She lost her job. And that's the real reason she lost her house. Well, she got scammed. That's the real reason she lost her house. She wasn't on drugs. But it could look like it. And then she lost weight because she was so depressed about the scam that she was going through. She was being emotionally abused on some online scam. And she started losing weight. Well, she looked like she was on drugs. She was skinny last time I seen her. And she lost the house. She'll never have no money. Probably is on drugs. You see what I'm saying? Things can look. People can paint pictures and make them look all kind of ways. go with the history, go with the patterns, go with the obvious. Okay, so if a liar that you know has a track record of lying, sitting up here talking about somebody lying, a liar trying to tell you who the liar is, a thief trying to tell you who's stealing, a drug addict trying to tell you who on drugs, you got to watch that. You got to question that. You got to question that, okay? So this is a lot of these confusing energies. This is a lot of the confusing energies that's going on. This is the deeper crux of it, okay? So then we dealing with the chaos of all of those projections. If you are being projected upon, okay, the best thing to do with that is to begin to meditate. I recommend that you do cleansing over yourself, where you're able to say any unlawful, untrue projections towards me or on me. You can do whatever works for you, but you can do where you're imagining cleansing them off of you like a shower, like they all fall off of me, all projections, untrue energy that's being projected onto me. And you have to do that, because here's the thing. If you are going to not deal in projections, you can't just keep the good ones. Them ain't true either. When people see you as better than what you are, when they see you as greater than, those projections ain't true either. So what you want to do is keep it legit, keep it legal, where you're like, you know what? All projections that are unlawful peel off of me right now. They wash away and they go down, you know, imagine them going down a drain. You don't have to keep that energy. Okay? And then you can stand in just your own authentic who you are. You don't need to stand on other people's projections, yay or nay. You know, you want to be careful too of trying to stand all high and mighty in other people's projections, because the thing about that is they can give it, they can take it away. Build yourself in truth and based on you, because then nobody can take it away. Nobody should be able. People can make you doubt yourself, but they should never be able to take away who you really are. You can let them, but it's all about if you believe them or not. If you believe those projections. Who are you really? Look over your history. Look over your track record. Look at what has been said about you consistently. What is a consistent thing that people have said about you? And then where is this information coming from? Because projections for people who barely know you, how they know that? All right, it's a lot to, you know, it's a lot of intricacies. You know, I'm just trying to give some general things that will help people with this, because if you're doubting yourself too much, listening to projections that are not based in fact, did that happen? You should be able to say, this person is a liar because they said this and this and this and this, and then they lied about that, right? They're not a liar just because of some, when people, the people who are doing this projecting, it's always airy-fairy, it's nothing, it's always elusive. It's never clear. It's never clear-cut. They can't never just state because you did this, and because that happened, and then it can't do any of that. It's because of what their perception, how they feel, what were you getting? It should be based in fact. Somebody want to call you a hoe, they should have instances of your hoeing. Because she was with this one, she was doing that, and I seen her doing this. That's how it should be. If they don't have none of that, what is they talking about? Why are you carrying on, taking on things that aren't even a part of your history? There's no facts to it. And it's crazy to me. It's almost mind-boggling. It takes you a little while to kind of, because it will blow your mind at first. You know, I went through one with someone like basically trying to question my sexual integrity. As a woman who's been with the same man since I was a teenager, 2 partners in my entire life, I'm not an overly sexual person. Never have been. Never have been. I made it to my 40s with 2 partners. Ever. So like a sexually promiscuous or sexually deviant type. You can never say that. There's no truth in it. You have nothing you could go on. Nothing in my history. Nothing that I've done. So that's the type of stuff you have to look at. And see, then instead of you knowing good and hell well you had two partners, now you're sitting up like, well, was I flirting too much when I was younger? And you going through all of this because you're going to start trying to dig and find something. Don't try to dig and validate lies. See, that's what happens when you're a person who over-examines yourself. You want to be right. You want to do the right thing. So much so that you take on these things that are not yours to bear. They're not your burdens to bear. They're not your burdens to bear. And as above, so below. The spiritual and the physical will always have some type of matching. They match. Okay? So that's that, guys. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for 36 minutes. I didn't even mean to talk that long. But I missed you guys. Love you guys. If any of you are needing help on a personal level, working through some of this confusion, dissecting what's the projections, what's not, hit me up. Go ahead and book some coaching sessions. We'll get her done. All right, guys. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.